Dire team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Summit qualifiers for the American region. Got NP going up against Complexity Gaming. Against Complexity Gaming, first of the three.
5 seconds.
And dude, NP, I think had their debut yesterday or maybe the day before that. They tore everyone up, so now going up against Complexity should be an interesting matchup.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Crystal Maiden.
Complexity's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining.
Terror Blade, Earth Spirit.
Dire team pick.
But not in the context of Complexity. I didn't really expect that necessarily. Fearo's been around as well, but again, not really expecting them to show up on Complexity. Definitely no slouches as far as new players are concerned, but you always have to remember, like, you're working with new players. You're going to go through that transition phase, and NP, they've played together before, so you'd expect that to be a little bit smoother as a transition phase. And I mean, they've already destroyed their first opponent the other day, and of course looking for a repeat now here. Crystal Maiden, first pick for NP, and a pretty strong first pick, but Terrorblade and the Earth Spirit now up against the Ember. I've been hearing some pretty strong opinions on Terrorblade and how he is, well, the best carry in the game. Do you have that opinion as well?
Yes, I would say he's the best carry. He's just so good in everything, you know. Like he has no real weakness. He's like
remaining.
The thing is he's like weak in lane kinda, you know, when he's not meta. But it doesn't seem to matter. Like people are like aggro tri laning or aggro dual laning with Terrorblade to shut down the opponent's carry, and it's like that's how strong the hero is. Like, and then he has like his first spell Reflection is so good against so many carries as well, and just the Sunder is a game-winning ultimate in a carry. It's just the hero is just really good, and I'm not sure if I would call it broken or anything, but it's definitely probably the strongest hero, strongest carry hero that is in the game right now. But see, like there's a lot of Omnis around here in the NA scene, and it was ignored now. A really good pairing with Terrorblade. Terrorblade's best point almost is that he's like a single core. You can play him as a single core, and you just have like 4 heroes that like kind of back him up, and then he just wins the game when he reaches a certain mass. And generally you see a lot of drops like that. You pick like Omni, you can go on Abaddon offlane, and these kinds of heroes have a puck mid, and they just control the team fight, and Terrorblade just destroys everyone and destroys all the buildings. But we're gonna see if Complex is gonna move that way. Darkseid being banned out. Probably gonna see something like Enigma banned out, and Legion probably as well. Legion is a hero that's pretty good against Terrorblade, Blade Mail, and just Legion's laning ability is one of the better against Terrorblade.
Tinker also definitely high up on the list there. Great hero that is good up against Terrorblade. That magic damage, that counter push that you provide is much needed when you're dealing up against Terrorblade. Again, you got to play your distances with Terrorblade. You got to play with magic damage if you can. And well, Tinker satisfies all of that. It's going to be the Legion, though, that you mentioned. Worth noting, Fada did play Tinker the other day, and Tinker is like one of Fada's heroes, so there's that to consider as well. But, you know, Ember Spirit is for Eternal Envy safe lane. You could definitely work things for NP if they really want to go in that direction. But yeah, for the Terrorblade right now, there's not really that much for him to worry about. We could see NP are respecting this Terrorblade quite a bit. You mentioned these defensive kind of off-lane heroes in the Omni Knight and the Abaddon. Getting rid of those healers for the Terrorblade. We've seen a couple of teams mix in a Dazzle with the Terrorblade. You just kind of can do that because your supports don't really need to do a hell of a lot offensively when Terrorblade's the one doing all the damage. So that's not going to be the worst pick in the world, the worst direction in the world for the complexity gaming side. But NP, they have a lot of magic damage already. I would say Ember CM is a pretty good 1-2 pick if you're going to be handling a TB.
Yeah, it's pretty good opening. You're leaving a lot of options open, and a silencer pick. From complexity, I feel like this maybe would be an NP hero where Envy could play it as carry and then swap to mid. I feel like this is NP's strength as well. I feel like Envy could just go mid, and Fada can also play carry. You know, they can swap a lot of heroes between those roles, and like they can both play the same hero on the different roles. So they have a lot of versatility in that. So I think they want to pick a bit around that by going like an Ember, and I think they can play it safe lane even though it's almost always mid. But this time it's complexity with the silencer, and I'm not sure if they play it on a certain role only. I feel like they played it quite a lot as support, and I'm not sure if it's a Pharaoh hero either. So I'm assuming it's a support for them. And Team NP kind of doesn't want to pick. They want to be a bit careful what they pick on offlane now, because I feel like they need something to deal with Terrorblade a bit more on offlane. Like Legion got banned, there's like Axe, but you don't want to pick a hero that gets countered by Silencer like Enigma, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Silencer effectively bans out the Enigma. You could still go for a Centaur in that offlane, or you could just pick up an Enchantress and take the fight very early on. Interesting pick from NP. We don't really see Enchantress or Chen really very often nowadays. Is a pretty good hero to have as far as the overall game plan is concerned when you're dealing with that Terrorblade. Again, you don't really want to risk the game going super late, but even if it does, even if the Enchantress really has a little bit of a slower start, a bit of damage in the late game up against a TB, up against a Silencer, Enchantress can definitely get a lot done there, but they expect NP to be going for a little bit more of an aggressive play in the early stages. CM and Enchantress, very deadly duo. You can smoke them or even not smoke them and get some pretty easy kills. And if you're looking at a core Silencer, that hero is super easy to kill if you're going to make a rotation.
Yeah, a bit already seeing Aoi playing Enchantress probably. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. So already they're like kind of adapting their drafting style to fit the new roster already. They're like making the heroes play the players play the heroes that are kind of or like a bit known to play. You know, Aoi plays a bit more farming force, can play a lot of micro heroes, and very versatile in that. And they're already adapting that, which is great for a team that's kind of new still. But I guess they kind of know each other from before, so it's not that surprising.
Hero that may have some issues up against Silencer, and now up against a Lifestealer, which is already a good hero to have up against the Ember CM, and of course up against that Enchantress as well with that Rage. So untouchable, you are not Enchantress. Complexity Gaming have a lot of damage, but how are these lanes actually going to go down? Lifestealer, Terrorblade, very infrequently seen on the same team. We see a couple of aggressive lanes with the Terrorblade, the solo Lifestealer perhaps, but that would require Silencer mid, right? And then, their aggressive support.
I mean, I feel like some teams are so versatile. We saw in the major that Lifestealer was offlane one game, and then, like I said, you can go Terrorblade aggro lanes, and then you could have a Lifestealer solo. Like, there's so many options if the team is versatile. But I'm expecting Silence support and Terrorblade and Lifestealer as mid/carry. I'm not sure if there's like a certain matchup they think is good. Like Lifestealer versus Ember doesn't sound that great. I feel like Ember just pushes the lane. But Terrorblade mid has been done a decent amount, especially in the NA scene. I feel like Terrorblade mid has actually been a big thing from time to time.
Definitely have seen it more in the NA scene. It is something that you have to watch out as far as matchups are concerned, but you have an Earth Spirit to kind of smooth that over. But yeah, if it is going to be a Terrorblade over in that mid lane, much like the Silencer, you do have to watch out for your timings up against the Enchantress and CM. Terrorblade, very gankable by those two heroes as well, especially if his Metamorphosis isn't available to him. And P now going to grab most likely MSS's hero in that Sand King. Just another stun to have is a hero that may have some difficulty going up against the Silencer as far as chaining his spells together as he wants to, but at the same time, Sand King is a hero that very proactively can hunt for and deal with the Silencer before that really becomes an issue.
Yeah, I really like NP's drafting. Going for the Sand King, you have great aggressive potential with a Sand King offline, one of the strongest at killing early levels, and then Enchantress, which is a great roamer. Complexity doesn't have like any way to deal with it. For example, if Complexity had Crystal Maiden, that would be able to deal with Enchantress roam pretty well. But they have a Silence and Earth Spirit is very weak, and NP are gonna go with the Death Prophet, which is, I think Eternal Envy and Father are both great at this hero. And this seems like this is like gonna be a classic NP draft. I feel like they're gonna draft this way. They're gonna pick these type of heroes with 5 mana, good team fight, but also strong lanes. And I think this is what we're gonna see from NP a lot in the future now. And Complexity, I wonder if they're gonna change anything or it's gonna be a bet. So I'm interested to see where everything goes. I'm expecting to Terrorblade mid. I feel like Lifestealer probably gets wrecked, but I'm not sure.
Up against a Death Prophet, Terrorblade mid seems like a difficult matchup for sure. I mean, you already had Terrorblade, you already had Lifestealer, so there's not that much that you could do to juggle your lanes at that point for the Complexity side. Death Prophet with rotations in, that seems like a lane that's going to be a real struggle, but of course there is an Earth Spirit going the other way as well, played by Z-Freak, who's no slouch on that hero either, so the Complexity will have ways of working around this, and the Batrider last gives them pretty solid initiation. And Batrider is powerful by himself initiation-wise, but when you have Batrider with a Silencer, it is really, really hard to do anything about that. NP don't really have many great responses to begin with. No, Vengeful Spirit, no Legion Commander to kind of soft counter that Batrider's initiation. No real ways of purging themselves of that Napalm and Enchantress, CM. These heroes can't really deal with the Batrider effectively on the defensively at all, so I like the Batrider pick up against NP, especially with this Silencer, but I don't know, the cost in the lanes for Complexity might be a little bit too high.
Yeah, Complexity are gonna run. They're running the Silencer Bat combo and Silence support. This is a classic, like you mentioned. It's a really good combo. You just initiate with Batrider, you just pop global. A lot of times there's save heroes against the Batrider, and then Silence just stops any kind of save because they're silenced, and then you kind of need like big items until you get past that. But so it's gonna be Envy, Death Prophet, and Fata Ember apparently, unless they swap. And I'm assuming Death Prophet is gonna be mid, so it's gonna be Eternal Envy, Death Prophet mid. And this is something he's actually, I feel like he's like a bit of a hipster when it comes to Death Prophet. I think he's been playing Death Prophet for like a year straight, and he also is a hipster when it comes to Solo Crest, because he was doing Death Prophet Solo Crest in pubs like 1.5 years ago, when the hero was not meta and the item was not meta.
Oh god. Really? We're gonna be doing this in this game?
It's already
Thankfully
started.
my in-game isn't really that loud, but if this becomes the meta, where something bad happens and then we have a whole bunch of like public audio, I'm actually kind of okay with that. But at any rate, for right now, as you said, Solar Crest, definitely on paper a strong item to have on Death Prophet, but it just doesn't seem like many Death Prophets find the time to pick up that item, just because items like Bloodstone and Yule Scepter typically take the cake a little bit more. It is picked up a lot more nowadays, I noticed. Just Solar Crest on any hero that can afford it. Maybe has something to do with the fact that Midases are picked up a lot more, so supports have the gold in order to buy those Solar Crests. But yeah, definitely flexibility here for NP. AUI. Oh,
He was not spotted? Okay.
it looks like that's a clear line of sight, but
I think it was very close, but he managed to hide. Eternal Envy is actually safe laning in the Prophets. I was wrong, and I don't blame myself for being wrong. This is not common. But
you being wrong or Eternal Envy safe lane, Death Prophet?
Maybe both. Let's go with that. But Aoi is actually smoked very early. He put down a ward, so here to scout the courier probably. I'm assuming he's kind of looking for a courier snipe. Unfortunately, Swinner Melan was greedy and using it early, so it's gonna be a very late courier being sent out. So, but this is a really good start. Being an enchanter, being kind of in opponent's jungle, you can pressure mid and opponent's safe lane very easy. And they are doing some weird stuff on complexity. I feel like this is kind of classic when Swindle draws and how he beats teams. They kind of do this kind of stuff that they're trying to do right now.
Those right now is kind of just baiting, and it looks like
they are gonna kill
will
Envy,
take the bait. Lots of damage return to Death Prophet. That's 3-stack Napalm's TP very early on. Will get the Death Prophet out all the way back to the base, and Pylai Die, the slow CM, will probably be okay. Earth Spirit does have an Orb of Venom, but Pi cut through the trees, will be fine, and we might have some action going over towards mid, because this is why AUI placed that Observer Ward. Unfortunately missed the incoming, so the salve and the quelling will be delivered, but I'm not liking this courier's chances on the way back home. AUI 2 spears will grab the courier, and I really like this move, well, period, but I really like it particular up against this Terrorblade. You know, this matchup is something you definitely can abuse once the Ember Spirit gets level 3, level 4. Going for this TB is very feasible. You just got to lock him down as hard as you possibly can and have AUI just pretty much sit on this lane 24/7. I kind of want to see a Tornado or one of those Lightning Harpies start spamming into Firo.
Yeah, Vlad rotating now to help out, because his Charger is pressuring a lot. Oh, Pylai Die. Oh god.
No
my fellow EU player.
Well,
he's baiting them.
Z-Freak is taking a lot of right clicks plus tower shots, but it still will be Swindles to claim the kill, and looks like Z-Freak couldn't eat his tree for whatever reason. It is going to be first blood or complexity, but you know, the fact that they lost their courier definitely softens the blow there for the NP side. And we also have ourselves a third lane. It's probably going to be a lot slower of a lane, but MSS with that Caustic Finale, definitely a struggle for any melee hero to deal with. Lifestealer perhaps slightly more capable at dealing with this than others, but still is not going to have a great time up against the Sand King, especially with Sand King having that additional mana from the CM.
Yeah, I think this lane is going to be relatively even with Sand King some killing potential, but I think Mu will deal with it well. I think he's pretty experienced in 1 versus even more so than MSS probably. But this is a pretty hard matchup. Is he gonna drop? This is kind of scary by him, actually. Oh god.
MSS has another Burrow Strike. Mu.
I didn't say anything.
Pop goes the Lifestealer, but MSS will get rolled in on. No, jukes to the side, but still goes down. Somehow. And now Z-Freak, well, he's kind of awkwardly here, as is AUI. How the hell did... Is there a tower shot that snuck in that I just didn't see? Probably. Either way, it's going to be 1-for-1 kill, but it's still a pretty decent trade for the NP side, all things considered. Even though experience does go the way towards Z-Freak, keeping this Lifestealer down as best they can, kind of only having to worry about this Terrorblade over in mid lane. Definitely the way you want to set things up as the NP's team.
Oh, there was a question mark from Mu when he denied. That's a compendium level thing, right?
Yeah, I think it should be.
Yeah, so he's committed for those question mark denies, for the extra taunt. This is actually a really cool set by the way on Lifestealer. I'm gonna talk about this. This is one of the best sets I've seen in Dota actually.
Got the gold on him even as a tail. Of course, we all know it
like,
makes Lifestealer more balanced.
I feel like it looks like an alien. It's pretty cool. I like this a lot. At least the tail kind of looks like it. But there are 2 other lanes as well.
Top tower
and Complexity are doing very well in the lanes though. The Terrorblade is doing a bit better than I thought. I thought it could be even, but I didn't think he would be actually kind of destroying. I guess he's not destroying, but he's doing very well.
That was very small participation from AUI in that mid lane. I don't think he sent any creeps to spam at Firo. He definitely didn't make any kill attempts on Firo. And to be fair, there was a silencer hanging around that mid lane for quite a long time as well. But yeah, I definitely didn't expect the Ember Spirit to be falling this far behind. Maybe if AUI was a little bit closer to the lane once the courier came out the first time, deny that Quelling Blade, deny that extra salve that came in, that definitely could have made the difference there. But for right now, it is going to be the Ember Spirit behind, but you know, not so far behind that he's just completely locked out of the game. He still has quite a bit of game, and they have a Death Prophet rather to
he's going for a play,
as well.
Oh, he's gonna get this.
Chains on Firo. Level 5 Terrorblade's gonna pop an illusion. He's gonna need some sick jukes. No, not even gonna happen. Fada gonna get a free kill. Z-Freak also messed up in the jungle, so yeah, that'll balance the lane pretty well for Fada.
Yeah, that's really good. Good read. He knew that Firo wanted to go for the shrine, so he used the DD. Oh, another TPL from Envy. Envy is doing these plays. Yeah, it was kind of the first time actually. Like, why did he have a TP at the start of the lane? That was so random. That was pretty funny actually. And this is the second time he managed to survive by TPing out. So that's pretty good for him. Fada is taking a lot of damage. There's no rotation though. Seafreak TP'd out a bit late. I guess he was still dead from earlier. Or he had to regen from being harassed out by Aoi.
AUI just places an observer ward in sentry range, but of course no regular vision there, so they couldn't actually clear it. So now there is vision all over the place for this mid lane. Dire have eyes everywhere. And of course the point of this is just try to apply pressure to Firo and not have Fada get jumped. They'll see it coming and Fada will sidestep the Earth Spirit roll in, but still will take a little bit of damage. He has some backup coming from behind. There's the stomp from the Centaur. Pilot die to arrive as well. Fada will survive and get the kill. And Z-Freak just has to wander out of there. He will show himself once again. I don't think he can get anything done here. But AUI makes his first rotation, and Fada now killing off the Terrorblade twice. Once he gets to level 6, this lane for TB gets so much more difficult. You just triple jump him with one other hero coming in. Yeah, pop goes the Terrorblade. MSS. He's going to go for bottom lane. There's an epicenter here, and it will be Butterfly to be cut down. Again, we think this is Vlad. We're not sure. But either way, it's MSS getting another free kill.
Yeah, MSS doing really good. He's playing this lane pretty well. He died once, but he got the better trade. And this NP rotation. What is that? Oh, this is some envy stuff going on right now. And I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it's not normal, I guess, is what I would call it. This is some really weird stuff, but it's classic envy.
It does seem like NP, they really like having Envy go to the jungle as soon as he's at all capable. I wouldn't say, like, you know, level 6 Death Prophet, it's time to jungle. But they've been doing this a lot, and they're just trying to give that support, the additional bump to level 6. Unfortunately, Pi is up against the Batrider, and CM against Batrider has very little game, and will get picked off, so is going to be a little bit more costly than perhaps NP were really expecting. I like the game plan overall. Maybe if Pilot was a Warlock, you can get away with that play. Perhaps, but oh, it's going to be Mu on bottom lane actually. To be picked off again, and 2 creeps from Enchantress plus Sand King here. A lot of tower damage.
Yeah, NP's laning is really strong. Swindle Melons is doing really good though, to kind of balance it to an extent at least. I'm going to make a prediction here. Envy is going to Roche with the next Exorcism together with Aoi. That's my prediction, and it's going to happen very fast when the soon as the Exorcism.
Bottom. Right now, it's MSS, the one in trouble. He is going to start channeling that Sandstorm. Get the pullback onto the Enchantress, but she has level 3 Untouchable. Is going to straight TP out of there with the Infested. They'll take the kill. And MSS Burrow Strike won't even work. It'll be 2 kills in exchange for mid lane, actually, where they are going to find and trade off for the Terrorblade. Kills happening all over the map, but ultimately, Sand King Enchantress for a Terrorblade. Pretty reasonable for both sides, actually. I don't really think that's going to be particularly huge, except for the fact that it might have been a Fada solo kill with no one else there.
I think it was. I didn't see the beginning of it, but when I looked, there was only Fada who was close. I think that was a solo kill. So Fada kind of making a big comeback after having a rough early laning stage. But I think Swindle Melons is the real MVP so far, with really salvaging the other lanes by rotating like this. Was really well played and really needed as well. He's on top of the net worth and also kind of helping his team out a bit, which is very impressive.
The drums already.
Stack off. That was some good timing right there.
Gonna have an absolute truck ton of gold off of this one.
This is like his blink, more or less.
Be very, very close, and if it is in Envy's plan to go for that Roche for the next Exorcism, a very early blink Batrider will make that fairly miserable for the Death Prophet. She is just shoving the top wave for right now. You know, maybe you can use the second Exorcism for a tower, because, you know,
no, don't do that.
What normal people do, but he's gonna teleport out. Looks like they're actually prepping for something.
I trust my boy Envy. He's gonna Roche with this. I believe. They don't have a medallion. Okay, they're just greeting. Oh, he's going Midas. No one is queuing up a medallion. I think my dream is not gonna happen.
Well, maybe. For right now, though, it's AUI and MSS. Wandering about the jungle, they'll find Batrider. He is very tanky, plus with Firefly, Boulder, and Stomp, just to get out of there. Might sacrifice a couple of these neutrals. Swindle Melons a little bit more cash towards his Blink Dagger. Definitely could have been worse. Exorcism, I heard it. Where is it? That is definitely not
Same
Rashawn.
thing. This is like you know, like old school racer. Like people just farmed, and then like suddenly someone like realized you can use ultimate to just farm neutrals, and this is like Envy taking it to the next level by using it on Death Prophet. I am not sure if I will approve of this, but it's definitely interesting.
Well, each exorcism got him one ancient camp. It's definitely, you know, not the most gold in the world, and there was a day where this ultimate's cooldown was a lot less because people were using it to take down towers. If only they knew, they could have been using it to farm as well. Would have broken the game completely, but he is still with Hanamitis, and he is going to work pretty quickly towards that Yule Scepter, so you may say, yeah, you can maybe get a tower in exchange for that if you really want to group up, but the results are there. Envy's still getting a lot of gold, and in the meantime for Complexity, Hero has been pretty well shut down, and will jump in for the Batrider. Most net worth on the team, though he will get a lot of help. Here comes Z-Freak. That'll stomp down the Enchantress. Fada does have a jump up to the high ground. Batrider on his tail. Fada, maybe not turning around for this one, but doesn't have that much damage. He'll have to jump out one more time. Swindlemelon's continuing to give chase. More napalm stacking up on Fada. Where's the help? It is not there. 5 stacks. Z-Freak is going to kick him. They're really respecting this Fada Ember, but I'm not really sure to what end. He's pretty screwed if you just right-click him right now. There we go. Flame Break, Dot will kill him. Mega kill for Swindles. And for NP, I mean, that's a great kill to have if they can get their hands on it, but sending a skeleton crew up against the tier 1 tower seems risky.
Yeah, pretty deep dive, and I feel like Complexity's rotations defensively are really good. Like, they rotated when NP was diving bottom tower, and now the same when they're diving mid tower. They're really reacting properly and getting these counter kills. I thought Fada kind of made a nice place to dodge the flame break that would have killed him earlier, but didn't really have a way to get out of there. And NP aren't really capitalizing either. Like, Complexity rotate 5 people to save 1 guy and kill 2 people, meanwhile everyone else is just farming. And it's not that it's bad, but that means that Complexity are getting their money worth in actually rotating 5 people to kill few people, because there's no one pressuring any towers. Envy is using ultimate to farm ancients, which is still weird. I think it's fine though. I think going for towers at this stage for NP is more risky. So I think you might as well use it to farm and accelerate a bit more, so you can get that level 12 and eventually 18 for the really value exorcism.
Complexity are doing a pretty good job at punishing defensively, but still we have Lifestealer, who is having a pretty rough game, and Terrorblade did survive the last engagement, but he as well not getting the most cash, at least not for Complexity to feel comfortable. It really is only Swindles who's getting a lot of income and will be able to influence the game with it, but for right now, he's had the Lifestealer inside him for a minute at least, and this is really dangerous for the Lifestealer. If you stay too long infested in, man, you're just doing nothing in the meantime. So in the meantime, for the NP heroes, Fada's farming top lane. Envy, I'm assuming, is Exorcism jungling. Maybe not quite, but MSS has been pushing the bottom lane with AUI the entire time. It just seems like NP are getting a little bit more value on a little bit more of a global scale, despite being up against the Batrider, who's usually designed to punish those type of plays.
Yeah, he picked up the blink on Swindles and then took in Knights and kind of didn't do anything for some time. Oh. Okay.
Of course, he decides to pop out when there was actually a kill nearby.
He's looking to Midas, but there's no creeps, and now he might pay. I think it's gonna be hard to kill him. MSS has the blink though, but if lads can get a good global silence if they need after the initiation from NP. Okay, this is gonna be a big team fight now. Both teams are kind of grouping up here. Envy has the ultimate, right? Yes, he does.
Maybe they're not
they're rotating
going...
down actually.
Yeah.
This is a good play if they catch him, and they should.
Run AUI, run.
Hero,
Enchantress can sproink pretty quickly, but not that quickly. She's trying to heal herself. Not going to happen up against a Lifestealer with that magic immunity. AUI will get punished for chilling on this bottom lane for a little bit too long. And no engagement up towards the top lane. Maybe they just didn't expect that infest to happen that quickly again, simply because he was able to let it cool down for that long. But a loss of an Enchantress, not really the worst thing in the world here for the MP side, since it looks like top lane able to get this objective down. Envy not even using Exorcism for the tier 1 because you don't really need to, just poke away at it. Complexity with no Batrider in the area. Looks like this is going to be a free tower for NP, and in the bottom lane in the meantime, Swindles being chased down by Fada. Blade Mail first on this Ember Spirit. Really good item to have for sure up against an enemy Batrider who is going to be able to dodge the first Remnant and the second Remnant. He's just going to walk away.
Oh, he's greeting for this Scatter. Oh, that might cost him his life, actually. They don't know.
PP in 10, but they don't know about it, so they're going to assume he's gone. And the tower gets denied up towards top lane as well. The past minute or minute and a half for Complexity have been pretty darn good. Was actually not TPing, actually, because there's a life stealer on the way. And it will be into the Enchantress. They'll find first. Tower denied in the meantime, but AUI very, very screwed, and Fada definitely cannot help him in that situation. Just going to shove the wave one more time, jump back.
Invisibility.
Tower denied, I guess, in the mid lane, so even tower denies.
Yeah, that's a pretty clutch deny. Both teams are doing really. I think Complexity are doing really well in rotating here. They kind of gonna lose a hero here though, but so far they really. I feel like it was looking pretty bad for them. Spinner Melons is gonna drop how much gold is he worth? Quite a lot for Envy actually. And if Envy doesn't queue up Solar Crest, I'm gonna be pretty disappointed actually. I feel like Solar Crest, has it become too meta for Envy? Is that the deal? Is that why he's not getting it?
Yeah, it's too mainstream. You probably haven't heard of Solar Crest when Envy was picking up, but he will still go for this tower. If he just goes for raw health, then, I mean, can't really fault him for that, but I also want to see a Solar Crest, but perhaps NP, the rest of their allies, not going to make use of it quite enough. Defensively, it's an all-star. Offensively, in this game, it really only does help EE, so...
Oh, Moo is going Radiance, or he's queuing it up at least. This is some NA Dodus.
The rune of regeneration.
This is a consideration for having a Terrorblade on his team with him. He knows that he doesn't actually have to do all the damage himself.
Oh, Swindles. This is deep by NP. Can I follow up in time?
Double jump from Fada. He chains him down. Pylite die. Gets a level 4 Nova off, and Swindles will fall. No help anywhere nearby. Actually, kind of nearby. It's Moo. Courier delivery, but is being stalked by quite a few heroes. MSS jumps in. Looks for a courier snipe. Moo will rage and TP out. He'll be fine. But it leads them right into Roshan. So, you know, pretty convenient there for NP, knowing that the biggest threat in the Batrider is dead. Why not go for Roshan?
Yeah, and they don't really have anything to contest at all here. They don't have like any big rooftop fights. It's basically Bat plus Earth Spirit that can go in during a global and create a lot of chaos. But it's without Bat up, it's pretty easy for them. And it's gonna be Fada who picks it up a bit safer, because that probably relies on ecosystem to fight, and doesn't really synergize well with the Aegis. And this means Fada can be a bit more ballsy, going for deeper kills, and also kind of greed a bit more by split pushing, because he knows if he dies, he's still gonna respawn and can get out that way. Because the only real thing that kills him is the lasso, and potentially a good time global silence.
First, before any of that happens, it's gonna be top lane, killing the CM, killing the tower. Very little response from the NP side. Yeah, this Ember Spirit, as you said, can play very brave, and with this Blade Mail build especially, willing to walk into a lot of damage if it does come to it, and knowing that he'll return a lot of damage and pop right back up, go for round 2. Has Travels probably coming out to him right now. Yeah, that's Anamitis and for AUI and Travels. NP gearing up for the late game in a pretty big fashion. A couple of Midases on their heroes, but they have to worry about right now because they're still going up against the Terrorblade. They have slowed him down in the early stages. He has recovered quite well since he's been pretty much AFK farming the entire time, and now on this top lane, Pi will arrive. Nova onto Furo, and will be the Ember Spirit to arrive as well. Global Silence is there, though, and they'll jump in straight towards the Ember Spirit. He does have that Aegis, though, so it's a pretty heavy commitment. Pylite Die will try his ultimate in the trees. Not going to happen. First Strike goes off into the Batrider. Can they focus down anyone here? NP seems like they were running low on damage. Now they will lock down the Batrider one more time. Another Swarm will take the kill there. Envy, though, well, he's going to get focused with the Eul Scepter. He'll be just fine for a little while longer. Fought another jump in. Blade Mail will do enough to trade evenly with the Terrorblade. And now here comes MSS with the Epicenter, finishing everyone else off from Complexity. And, well, they'll lose Eternal Envy, but you know what? That's fine. It's still a 5-for-2 exchange in favor of NP. Complexity perhaps blowing their load a little bit too early on that Aegis Ember Spirit.
That was a clutch use by Envy. He was gonna get picked by Earth Spirit and would have gotten blown up, but he got the use off and he managed to survive way longer because of it. That was basically the game-winning play right there. The fight-winning play, and also choosing to have Ember Spirit with Aegis definitely paid off. He could YOLO in like this, like he did, and dies, and they will still win the fight. I think Complexity kind of salvaged the fight in a very good way though. I feel like that fight, they're kind of deep committed on a tower, and it's a pretty good fight for NP. But I feel like Complexity kind of got out there and did a good job, and they didn't lose that much. They fought a 6 versus 5, and they killed 2 coL. That's a pretty good trade in my opinion. It doesn't matter what happens in the next
Visibility.
Fada gonna find Furo.
Sunder in
And
5.
he has an Invis rune actually. This is some like pub Ricky stuff right here. But he's with another chains. Thinking about jumping in, but he doesn't have that much more damage, and yeah, just gets sundered. So Fada just walks in and loses a good amount of his HP. No one's gonna die here. But in the meantime, NP is looking to group up, and it looked like a smoke move, but they're just gonna disperse and farm. He definitely not super eager to rally around this Death Prophet and use Exorcism to push down towers.
Yeah, he picked up a blink. Did I mention that? I might have, but he decided to go blink on the. Pretty rare. I guess that's not as meta as Solar Crest, so he actually decided to get it. But together with having like Ember more as a frontliner-ish, it's kind of nice, because Death Prophet is usually kind of the tank, you know? Now, okay, Fada is going a bit more tanky with the blade mail. He got the Aegis, so Envy's kind of playing like a counter-initiator almost. Like, after the fight, he brings in
Global Silence to give him a little bit of cover. Oh, but the Eul Scepter still works. They'll lift up the Terrorblade. His backup is coming in hot with no Global Silence. It's gonna be tough. They will drain out the Terrorblade because they forced out the Sunder earlier. Now the jump in from MSS. Burrow Strike and Epicenter only really hits onto Z-Freak, but doesn't matter. Still got the kill. Eternal Envy's Ghost still very fresh into this tower. Still, the Batrider has a surprise in, but it's over towards bottom lane where they found Vlad. Jump in now, lockdown onto the Death Prophet. He will be brought down, Envy, but there's so much return damage going to Swindles now. Moo with the Rage will get himself out to safety. For NP, maybe losing the Death Prophet means they can't take this tower as well, but it's a small price to pay, man. 1 for 4. A big exchange for NP.
Yeah, really good fight. I thought that was gonna be a bit risky, but they couldn't really find the counter initiation in time. After the Terrorblade getting killed, he didn't have Thunder because he said earlier to kind of be sure he didn't die. But NP playing really well, they're coordinating well. They know that they can force out a global, and then NP using the sword that they used to cancel the TP out, and then Complexity aren't. If they were there like a few seconds earlier, they might have been able to take that fight, but instead they just lose 2 people and then get chased down. Fortunately, they managed to kill Envy. Moo is actually climbing really well in network. If you remember earlier, he had a pretty rough game, and was bottom 5 at one point. But now he's actually almost at the top of the network.
Used all of his gold as well to make mostly just purely offensive builds, Desolator and the Armlet. So he is working with very, very cost-effective items right now with a lot of farm. That is a dangerous combination. Magic Community is something that NP really can't deal with. It's really just like Death Prophet Euls herself just to not die to that, but that's not really all that great. Big smoke movement here from the Complexity side. There was an Observer Ward kind of near the smoke location. Not really sure if it saw anything. It does look like NP are keen to this. See Pylai Die chilling in the trees. Bottom lane pushed by Fada, who can afford to do this just because he's an Ember Spirit. Everyone else from NP, they're just going to bottle up in their base, and that's smoke play. I like the idea for Complexity, but it's not going to happen this time.
I'll take your tribute.
Yeah, a bit too obvious, I guess. Their Spirit is kind of stay. He has
a blink.
Pretty safe. Oh, what?
Okay. Well, his rollout, that's Eul Scepter. Envy misclicked on himself.
Oh.
And now 2-main stun, and then a jump out, and now Envy might get punished. With the Global Silence there, no one can save the Death Prophet, and they just have to get the hell out of there. AUI. It's a big hit from that Lyser, but now they've isolated Swindle Melons, and with the Epicenter being charged up, they're going to jump right in. Batrider down, and Moo not looking too hot either. AUI is going to spear him to the back, and Z-Freak will do a lot of damage here with his ultimate. But I don't think it's actually going to kill anybody. No, it won't. They get to the shrine, and in the meantime, it is still Fada going for more, thinking about it at least. Can't quite catch the chains onto the silencer, so... And again, another big exchange for MP off of what probably should have been just an Earth Spirit pick.
Yeah, it was a bit awkward there for NP. Envy probably didn't intend to have that happen, or Fada went back first. Complexity really nice. They actually were really fast on helping out Seafrick there on the Earth Grid and managed to blow Death Power up. And I think they intended to back off, but Mu actually did so much damage to Aoi, he felt like he could get the kill. And just that thought of maybe being able to kill Aoi made them commit a bit too deep, and NP counter-initiated very well. MSS with a great counter-initiation with FA and Burrow Strike, and really good coordination from MP, even though that very awkward at the start. They are playing as a team, which is very nice to see.
EY has had the Midas for quite a long time now, 4 staff, an all-star up against well, pretty much all of Complexity, great up against Lifestealer, same thing for the Terrorblades, and well, Fada, he's at half HP. Vlad, Butterfly, looking at him, but sees a Death Prophet and realizes can't go for that just yet. NP still claim quite a nice win, and something that we haven't really mentioned all that much this game, MSS has been able to land some really big epicenters. We've seen so many Sand King games recently where there's very few epicenters. The first one and last one happens when his base is under siege, but for sure this is not one of those games. Burrow Strike will land, but we'll get immediately punished. Did I just kill MSS? I think I did. I'm sorry, man.
Seafreak with great reaction. So NP playing kind of well. I feel like Complexity is kind of... I feel like they're playing better than I thought they would, honestly. They are really coordinated. They have two EU players, new EU players, and they're kind of playing with ping as well, I think. I don't think they're in NA yet. And they are actually coordinated really well. It feels like they've been... looking like they've been a team for longer than they have been. And I'm getting a bit worried for NP because especially Fata has no way to deal with Earth Spirit Knights combo and Batrider Knights combo. So if he's split pushing, if either one of those two combos are even close to him, he can get bursted because Lifesteal does enough damage at least. And he going for Radiance and not dealing with this kind of pickoff that they can, but he's been playing well so far. But this seems like a liability that could end up costing them a lot.
Radiance is like a pseudo defensive item with that mischance that it offers. But again, up against the Lifestealer, up against the amount of control that he will be facing up against, doesn't seem like it's necessarily the right kind of survivability, where you just need a little bit of extra health, a little bit extra time to get that jump out. It's been a long time since we've seen like the Manta style build on the Ember Spirit, but it seems like might need an item kind of more along those lines. I'm not really sure if Eul Scepter's in the game plan for him, but you know, that type of item as well would give him a huge benefit. BKB perhaps. For right now though, he has his heart set on Radiance, and he will have it pretty soon, to be fair. But he will also be in a little bit of trouble here. Swindles, fresh BKB, they just saw Fada.
They can teamfight now before he got Radiance. That's like having 5k net worth on Ember that's doing nothing. He's selling items. Okay, that's a pretty good play. Now he peaked a lot here. He's so much stronger than he was like 10 seconds ago. And NP are setting up for this. This requires some good initiation from Paul to make this happen.
Swindles. Oh, he's gonna jump in. No response just yet with the BKB. He'll be just fine. Eternal Envy gonna get focused down. He has a Eul Scepter, but he can't get it off. And now NP, they just have to scatter. Death Prophet actually is going to buy out into this game. And Fada is waiting for his opportunity to strike back. A little bit of chip damage going back the way of Z-Freak. Eternal Envy jumps into the middle of everything with the Exorcism already active. They're start focusing on Firo. MSS botches Epicenter this time. It still gets in there with the Burrow Strike. And it will be 4 deaths. NP don't lose anyone except for that first death on Envy. And it is going to cost him a buyback, and that is somewhat expensive. But again...
on bottom lane. Oh, he's heading straight for it, and they might just Drax them here thanks to being very fortunate in the creep. Oh, what a classic enemy play though with the buyback to teamfight instantly. This is some NP Dota right here.
He's looking for a couple of buybacks of his own. Swindle's going to show up, but MSS is right on his tail. The Eul Scepter, that will be a little bit awkward, but still this Batrider has nowhere really to go with no BKB, no backup. We'll make it ultimately a full 5-man wipe in favor of NP, now assembling the troops on bottom. Forcing out 1 buyback. I think that's probably all they're going to get. Terrorblade obviously doesn't have his. Batrider, same thing. Still, Lifestealer is incredibly potent, but he cannot handle all of these heroes by himself, and especially if he gets initiated upon. He'll jump in from Z-Freak, lands a nice kick. Takes a lot of damage just from random chip. And now the Swarm, they'll pop the Earth Spirit before anything happens. Now Mu has to pop himself out of there. Hero has respawned. Eternal Envy on the front lines. Does not have a buyback, so he's got to be a little bit careful here. But still, the damage has already been done. Melee racks down, and MP looking to go right back in. They're going to get the jump onto Firo. He does have a Sunder, but he is going to go down before he can get anywhere close to that. And now Butterfly also going to fall as Moo can do nothing but watch. Another 4 kill for NP. Will solidify this bottom lane advantage and then back out as a team. 14k net worth lead for the Dire.
What a fast turn of events. NP were leading a lot in this game, or a decent amount, but that one buyback play and then just being a bit fortunate, the creeps just turned this game completely, and Complexity are so far behind now. And do they have the ways? They have ways to deal with this? They can't really play that well from behind, because Enemy is getting to a point where he can siege pretty well, and they are lacking a lot on Complexity. Terrorblade is not strong enough to start killing people that is close to him. Like these Enchantress is pretty tanky, Tanking is pretty tanky, Envy and Father are tanky. The heroes that get close to Terrorblade are not dying, which is a big problem, and they are lacking a lot of damage now. They have very good single target damage, but at this point they're getting too far behind where the team fight needs to be better.
Well, they're going to go in pretty deep for Pylite Dive, but double force staffs are there with a lot of backup as well. They got baited in a Moo. He can't get his rage off. He'll get shredded by the ghosts. And Bat Rider, he has to pop his BKB. Nice kick from Z-Freak. Going to give the Bat a little bit extra space there to get out. MSS looking to give chase, as is Eternal Envy, but there's a Bat we're talking here. Eternal Envy still running intercept into Z-Freak. A little blink out of there. Earth Spirit should be fine. But going in pretty deep, I was just about to mention, like, the damage on Terrorblades, yeah, that may be one thing, but he also just doesn't have enough control to be able to hit the person he wants to hit with, what, 3 force staffs on the NP side, plus the hero that doesn't have a force staff is the Ember Spirit and Death Prophet. So, yeah, if you're looking for a target, they're all just going to be shuffling away from you. You can't do anything about that as Terrorblade. You can get 1 kill with the lasso. That's fairly guaranteed, but everything after that, really, really hard to get the kills.
Yeah, this mass force that is definitely a nice counter. And there's a lot of lockdown on competitive sides, but it's kind of hard to force NP to stop. Like, NP can just play reactively. They can just save the person that gets gone on, because they know they're so far ahead. They have stronger team fight. The only thing they're really afraid of is the single target damage to burst one hero, and that's pretty easy to counter. You can even just Envy can just blink use a hero, and there's a lot of damage missing. If he just blink use Terrorblade just randomly in a fight, that means over half the damage of the team. Complexity is gone, and it becomes so hard to force a fight that you have a chance at winning. And Batrider doesn't have a force step either, so the high ground defense is not as strong as it is when you have a Batrider. Usually, in a Batrider, if you're playing lasso, force step the hero in your base, and then you take a fight like that way. But he's gone this kind of aggressive teamfight build, and it's not gonna cut it at this stage. And it's gonna be so hard to make. They are really far behind. They need to burst heroes and just kill everyone before NP kind of gathers. If NP is gathered when the teamfight starts, they're probably not winning it.
Man, you just went over like some tankiness. We got some new items coming up here on the NP side. Plate mail on a CM. The last time you were able to see that. Soul booster on the Ember Spirit. Just a lot of raw HP there. By the way, AUY, the supposed support, they're actually going to jump in towards an Envy first, and he's going to fall. I was going to mention Solar Crest, but doesn't seem like that's going to be quite enough survivability. Fada and Pi also spotted. They're going to actually dodge the stun, but still Ember Spirit gets silenced. Kick actually not used yet, and it will be used. Still will be dodged. Fada should be fine. It's like they're kind of baiting this. Fada kind of wants to fight. He's going to make a big commitment in towards Swindles, but very quickly you realize he shouldn't have done that because Moo's right on top of them. They'll lose the Aegis. Epicenter now going to come in. We'll do a whole lot of nothing up against the BKB of Firo. Fada's going to respawn into unhappiness because he's going to get sundered, and he's already pretty much dead. He will burn down Swindles with the Radiance, try to jump out of there, will fall short, lots of damage, but not quite enough. MSS with the Burrow Strike has a chance maybe to get a pickup kill here, and he'll try it onto the lifesteal. He'll land the stun, but no follow-up damage, and MSS will fall as well. NP really trying to greed out for a couple of kills after losing Envy. It's going to cost them huge as they lost some really, really fat heroes.
They're kind of panicking, I think. First of all, enemy getting picked off is not the ideal start, of course, but you can wait. The main thing is that Ember gets killed first, then NP almost always win if that's the starting of the fight. But then also, even this 4 versus 5, you have potential to win, but you kind of need Ember to die, and then when he respawns, you counter initiate with everything you have. But MSS kind of goes in, and he pops epicenter, and he goes in while Ember is respawning, like 3 seconds away from respawning. And then MSS kind of wasted everything on a BKB target, and then Ember spawns, and he has killed Thunder and silenced that and kill. And then MSS is too deep and can't really help out either because he used 4 stuff to get in as well. Instead of just kind of relying on Ember to die alone, and he's gonna probably take the majority of the team down to maybe 50% HP when you do that, and then you can counter after he respawns with everything you have. But it seems like they're kind of having struggles when enemy is not in there to kind of do a lot of stuff for them.
Well, they'll get a freebie, it looks like. Z-Freak trying to teleport out of there. Way too much damage, though, from the NP heroes. So, yeah, that was definitely a rough engagement for the NP side. But, you know, with this pickoff, they definitely do still have a lot of game, and they'll actually find a random Bat Rider here. MSS will try to force staff himself to safety. Gets hit with the Echo Shell, and I think he's actually safe from Moo completely. They're going to drive the two away from each other. Swindles with the BKB is going to go in a little bit too deep, perhaps. There's a global silence here to maybe save Swindles, but I'm not really sure if that's in the cards. He's going to be picked off by Fada. Now with 2 heroes down, the game has changed drastically after that last team fight. With no Bat Rider, I don't know how Complexity fight.
And they have to just stall now. That was so close though to being good for Complexity. If Sankin got up to high ground, and if Swindle Melons had been like half a second faster on the frame break, he could have knocked him down to low ground, and then could have just straight up killed him. Moo actually got a Radiance now. So now there's 2 Radiance in each team. I think Complexity just has to drop these towers and defend high ground. Thing to notice, if you look at the net worth, at least player net worth, there's a person that's very high up that usually shouldn't be this high up when he's playing a position 4.
I don't know how he does it, but it always seems like AUI is able to do it. Or at least from the few NP games, the super recent NP games I've seen, it seems like standard fare for AUI is, regardless of what hero he is, at a certain point, he's going to go towards bottom lane if he's on the Dire and just make his home there and just farm forever. And he's still been fairly active, but yeah, just his tankiness is definitely something to be scared of. And now with the Aghanim Scepter, his DPS is not something that Complexity can really afford to ignore. Like, they may be thinking, hey, we got to go for this Ember Spirit, we got to go for this Death Prophet, but Enchantress, her damage to kill ability ratio is really hard for Complexity to make that call. He is going to do so much damage if Complexity don't respect this Ench. And so far, it doesn't seem like they've really been doing that. Only this Lifestealer trying to go for the Ench kills.
Yeah, he's gonna do a lot more now. He's gonna hit a nice peak here. Both teams are kind of looking to fight. It's gonna matter a lot who gets the initiation. Especially supports dying early costs a lot. Especially here like Silencer, who has a big ultimate.
There's no vision here for the NP heroes. They will.
This is some pretty funny smoke. This is a pretty classic NP as well. Smoking the opponent's base after taking a Rax. They are a team that really does this a lot. I guess Envy is the player who does this a lot. I think they spotted him actually. Yeah, Complexity might get an insane wrap here.
Those were Moo's pings. Ember's gonna leave right now. He can of course return very quickly. Swindle Melons, he's ready to go. Envy, though, has the Echo Shell on himself. Fada's gonna go in the front, and the Echo Shell won't do anything. BKB is up on Envy, but he's still taking a lot of damage from Moo, but he's not gonna die straight to it. And the Exorcism now and the Siphons will start doing a lot of damage with the Eul Scepter. He'll survive for a little while longer. MSS now prepping the epicenter. He's gonna jump straight in towards Furo, put down the Terror Blade, and now the chase is on. 4 Swindles first, 2 spears to the back. He's down. Moo's trying to go for Envy, desperately trying, but there's way too many heroes here. He will almost get the kill, actually. 30 HP. Death Prophet is going to live, though, and AUI took a little bit of damage just from random AoE being thrown about, but still able to do some serious damage to that Enchantress ultimate. At least for Complexity, there's no Exorcism still to worry about, but man, they don't really have much going for this defense.
Yeah, they commit fully for Envy with the Swindle Melons on Moo, and Since Mu went into Radiance, his single target damage has kind of been lackluster because of that, and they're gonna call GG.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
That was some weird stuff at the end, but I wonder if he had more pure single target damage, they could maybe kill the Death Prophet there, and I think if they manage to blow up the Prophet, I think they take that fight pretty convincingly.
The Death Prophet did have a BKB up, whereas when Envy was getting picked off, he was just getting caught off purely by surprise. Wasn't able to get